When I think of how he came so far from glory, oh yes he did, came and dwelt among the lowly, such as I, to suffer shame and such disgrace. From Mount Calvary to my place. Then I ask myself the question, who am I? Oh yeah. Who am I that a king would bleed and die for? Oh yeah. Who am I that he would pray? Not my will for. Call a friend, tell them the boom is on. The answer I may never know. Why ever love me so, that to an old rugged cross he'd go. Who am I? I am to die for. I am worth the life of a God. Oh yeah. We're wrapping up with the enemy tonight, giving you 10 things that you need to know. When I'm reminded of these words, I'll leave you never. Oh yeah. Just be true. I'll give to you life forever. I wonder what I could have done to deserve God's only Son. So I've a long time to see you, to fight my battles until they're all won. Good evening, Sabbath Chief Son. Who am I? Who am I that a king would bleed and die for? Oh yes, good night to Rock and Lumber. Who am I that he would pray? Not my will die for. Say good night to my friend Gene. The answer I may never know. Why so to an old rugged cross he would go. For who am I? Oh yes, Lord, that to an old rugged cross he'd go. For who am I? Before me in the presence of my enemy, you anoint my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Wow. One of my favorite Jimmy Swaggart numbers. May the roses never fade. Oh, yeah.
Well, yes, I'm going
to that city. I don't know. Oh, yeah.
Where the streets with gold are laid.
Oh, yes, they're laid. And
oh, the trees,
all life are blooming. Oh, Lord, and the roses never fade. And the roses never fade. Here they bloom, but for a season. Oh Lord, yeah.
Well, their beauty
is decayed. But I am going to a sea. Good evening to Carla Stapleton. Oh Lord, where the roses never fade. Savitri Prasad. This is Pastor Walter Stapleton's daughter, Orla Stapleton. Say hi. Orla Stapleton, Savitri Prasad, one of the churches over the river that your father built. She's somebody that got saved in that time, in that era, still serving the Lord faithfully. Brother Stapleton, Walter, the man of God, left a legacy. Whoa! He was one of God's greatest builders, building structures, physical structures, as well as building up the kingdom of God with people that he challenged. I sit here today because he used to tell me, always be prepared with a message. You never know when you'll be called. A soldier must always be ready. And with those words, I was always ready. Now they have to pull me off the stage with a stick because I wouldn't shut up. Sister Jennifer Hines from Antigua.
loved ones are gone.
To be with Jesus. Yeah, Lord.
Oh, their robes of white
array. Ba-doom, boom, boom, ba-doom. Ba-doom, ba-doom, boom, boom, boom.
Now they're waiting for my coming. I'm talking about a city
where the roses never fade. Good evening to Mika Baptist, Alexis Cox. God bless. Here they bloom, but for a season. Oh Lord, yeah.
well,
Their beauty is decayed. Oh Lord, I'm a-going. I am going.
Are you going?
To the city.
Do you already have your reservations made?
Dear God, may the roses never fade. Where the roses
never fade. Sing that chorus
Marla
one more
Hendricks,
time.
that's another one right there. Hendricks, another one right there. Here they, before John Church, across the bridge. A season, hey, hold on, then. Their beauty is decay. Ba-dum, ba-dum, bum, bum, bum. I am going to the city, dear Lord, where the roses never fade. Ah, yeah. Where the roses never, oh my Lord, they never fade. All right, let's have one more song before we get into it. Just the music is just a blessing today. To God be the glory. To God be the praise and the honor.
For we need
Yes, Jesus now.
Jesus now,
More than ever. Oh, yeah. He healed the blind man, walked on the waters, and he raised up Jairus' daughter. He fed the hunger, cleansed the leper. Now we need Jesus, but we need Jesus now more than ever. Jesus now more than ever. We are sailing in stormy weather. All his children should get together, for we need Jesus now more than ever. Good night to Jennifer Hines. He touched the lame man and started walking. He touched the blind man and started talking. He put their lives all back together. But we need Jesus now more than ever. Jesus now. Blessings to a wonderful evening to Cindy L. Francois, Big Daddy B. We are sailing in stormy weather. All his children should get together, 'cause we need Jesus now more than ever. In the book of Revelation, we read about the tribulation. Boy, we are heading in that direction, and only Jesus' blood can give protection. Jesus now, more than ever, we are sailing in stormy weather, and all God's children should get together, for we need Jesus now more than ever. Jesus now, more than ever. We are sailing in stormy weather. All these children should get together,
we need Jesus now more than ever. For we need, yes we need Jesus now more than ever.
Oh, the anointed music of Jimmy Swaggart back in the good old days. Psalm 23, very familiar passage. I'm going to read the whole thing. My focus is on verse number 5, and when I get there, I'll say verse 5. The Lord is, He exists, my shepherd. I'm making it personal. I shall not want, I shall not be in lack. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. Sometimes I don't want to lie down. I keep going. And the Lord has to make me lie down. Sometimes you've got to tell your kids, go to bed. He leads me beside quiet waters. He restores my soul. He guides me in the path of righteousness for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. Verse 5, you prepare a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. You have anointed my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and loving kindness will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies, my adversaries, my foes, my frenemies, people who come at me with hostile intentions, thinking that they will destroy me. Glory be to God. I got a word from Apostle Harper before I started off. He had me laughing. And I'm talking about 10 things you need to know about your enemy. And he's saying he only wants to know one thing about his enemy, to stay away from them. I can tell you, you've got two options when you've got a hostile enemy. You can stay away from them, which is sometimes the smartest thing to do, or you can engage them, but you've got to be as smart as a fox and as cool as a snake. You know, snakes and men have been enemies from the Garden of Eden. Anytime we see a snake, we want to chop it. And yet snakes are still around. You know why? They know how to stay out of trouble. They move mostly by night. And they keep multiplying. And they're not going to go extinct. Other animals that like to be out there making noise, you see the dinosaurs, big and bad out in the public space. They are no more. But the snake crawls in a cool place, rolls up, and takes a nap, and he's waiting for the night season when we are not out and about, and then he does his business and go back in before we come out. Number 1, the reaction of your enemy proves that you are making progress. When your enemy gets anxious, when your enemy gets nervous and tense and uptight, it's a sign that he knows his time is limited. He knows he doesn't have much time. He knows you're up and roaring. Emperor Hirohito of Japan, after they had attacked Pearl Harbor, he told the men, he said, I'm afraid that we have awakened a sleeping giant, talking about the United States. And he said that giant will not rest until he has visited destruction upon us for Pearl Harbor. What an ominous word of prophecy. Boom, Hiroshima. Boom, Nagasaki. 2 bombs. And Japan came to the table with the white flag, signing for surrender because they couldn't take another bomb. And so, the reaction of your enemy is proof that you're making progress. Hirohito knew that they had made a mistake, they had miscalculated, and that America, that sleeping giant, was going to rise up and not go back to bed until Hiroshima and Nagasaki were smoldering in nuclear smoke. Yes. Sometimes your enemy can clue you in as to the extent, the enormity of what it is you're doing, because a lot of us, myself included, we have no clue, no idea as to how far our message, our preaching goes. I was in an airport in the Caribbean, and I was watching the television, and something happened, and I laughed, and I just burst out laughing. LOL, I was laughing out loudly. I saw a woman stop in her tracks, turned around, looked at where the laugh was coming, and briskly, with a broad smile on her face, she came over to me. She looked at me, and she said, "Yes, it's you." So I'm looking at her. I don't know her from a can of paint. I said, "Okay, it's me." She said, "Yes." And then she said, "Reverend Esse-boom, if you had touched me with a feather, you would knock me out." I said, "Excuse me?" She said, "Reverend Esse-boom." I said, "Okay, you got me there. Where have we met?" She said, "We have never met." Now hear this. She said, "I am coming from St. Kitts." I said, "St. Kitts, I've been there one time." She said, No. Your mother was there, and she had a lot of your CDs, and she would play them, and after a while, we used to have a lot of women that would come to hear the preaching. And she said, "We stole a lot of your CDs from your mother when she wasn't looking." And she said, "I know the laugh anywhere. And when I heard it, I knew it was you." And I smiled and said, "Well, you've got good ears." She said, "Yes. How's your mother?" And then I told her, "Well, she passed a few years ago." Said, "Oh, we wondered why she didn't come back." But the point I'm making is, here you are, by your lonesome, assuming that you are an unknown human being in this vast airport that nobody knows you. And here, your laughter on a CD that you don't know anything about, somebody recognizes your laughter. How strange is that? The point I'm making is, I was making inroads. People were liking the CDs. I never met them, never knew them. And yet, by the laughter, they could identify who it was. I remember a second incident in my own home country. I was passing by a historic church. I'm not going to tell you this is St. George's Cathedral. And this black woman is in front of me with her clutch purse. She had it on the side, and she turned and glanced and saw me at the edge of her eyes. Here's this young black guy coming, walking fast. He must want to snatch her purse. And so she held on to the purse tightly, and she started to walk fast, but she was an elderly woman, so there's only so fast she could go. And I speeded up just to be facetious with her. And she started to walk even faster, and I started to walk even faster. And finally, it was so comical because her feet were moving, but she wasn't going very far. And I was making inroads on her. I was catching up with her. And finally, I just laughed. And when I laughed, she, you know, like when somebody threw a cold bucket of water down your spine, she jerked involuntarily. She let her hand fall to the side. She slowed down. I'm thinking, what just went wrong? I thought I'd scared the bejesus out of her. And she said, with her head straight in front, not even bothering to turn and look at me, she said, I know that laugh anywhere. Reverend Esse-boom, why are you trying to fool with an old lady? Boy, I laugh even louder. Reverend Esse-boom, why are you trying to fool and frighten this old lady? She said, you think I don't know that laugh? And then she told me the church that I used to go and preach at when the pastor was alive. And I had to laugh. I said, yes, I used to go. She said, I know you laugh anyway. Why are you trying to frighten an old lady? God bless you, my son, and we talked until she went her way, I went mine. You never know. People will react to you, and you have no idea whether you're a blessing or a blight. But your enemy, he knows, she knows, they know that you're making inroads. They know that your time is limited. They know that the jig is up. They know. The Midianite said, I dreamt a barley loaf tumbled down on our army and crushed it to powder. Another man interpreted the dream. He said, that's nobody but Gideon. Gideon was afraid of the Midianites. The Midianites were having nightmares about Gideon. The thing that Gideon was afraid of him. And at times your enemy can see your strengths. They see your weaknesses too, but they see your strengths, and they have evaluated and assessed you and have come to the conclusion, we can't handle this guy. You're too hot to handle. You're too bad to stop. You're too invincible to be beaten. And they're going to leave you alone. A lot of them learn by attacking you that you're an impenetrable wall. So that's my first point. The reaction of your enemy is proof of your progress. It's proof that you're making strides. It's proof that your name is out there. It's proof that you're not a has-been, you're not a wannabe. You're not a horse that also ran. You're in the top 2 or the top 3. Are you feeling me now? Yes. Number 2, any move in the right direction will instantly get a reaction from your enemy. When you're moving in the wrong direction, your enemy is smiling. He's not making any noise. He's not coming after you. He's not saying anything. He's not starting any rumor. He's not suing on you. He's leaving you alone. Why? You're going in the wrong direction. But the minute you turn around, the minute you start to make strides, the minute you start studying, the minute you go back to college, the minute you go back to university, the minute you learn a different skill, the minute you open a business, the minute you get cracking with your life, the minute you're not crying anymore, the minute you're not sour the hour, the minute you're not addressing them and passing them and have your bottom lip on the floor where they love it to be, the minute you start laughing, the minute you look glorious, they want to know what's going on here. I thought I'd make him miserable for the rest of his life, and here he is all dressed up, looking good and smelling better. Any move in the right direction will be instantly addressed by your enemy, because your enemy can't tolerate your success, can't tolerate your progress, can't tolerate your upward mobility. And that's where you're going. You're going to the high places to tear the devil's kingdom down. David ran towards Goliath, and Goliath said, am I a dog that you come against me with a stick? He had to react. He had to respond. Your next move will make your enemies respond and react. I got stories, but I'm not going to tell them. Number 3, your enemy will reveal the greatness of God to you. It took Goliath for them to know what a warrior David was. They thought he was a shepherd and a good musician. Your heart may doubt it. Your mind may be confused about it. But in the moments of crisis, God will expose his power and love towards you. And it was the enemy that gave him an opportunity to do that. Nobody would have known David's name. It took Goliath to bring him out of obscurity into international and global prominence. Your prominence is going to be determined by your enemy. Goliath thought he came to kill David, but all he came to do was to introduce David to the nation of Israel and to the nation of the Philistines and the other nations. He was just the introducer. On the right corner, weighing 120 pounds soaking wet, is the scrappy, scruffy young shepherd boy named David, master at the slingshot, master with the left hand and the right, an ambidextrous wannabe warrior is taking on the champion of God, Goliath, 900 pounds, 9 feet 6 inches, with a weaver's beam for his javelin. He's bad to the bone and has killed many a man who thought that he could take him on. Your enemy will ultimately reveal the greatness of God to you. You need a jawbone of an ass to know that it can be turned into a weapon of mass destruction and that God can use the simple things to defy them that defy you. May God go to war for you with the jawbone of an ass. May God go to war for you with a raven that comes with bread and flesh. May God go to war for you with a talking donkey. May God go to war for you with the red snapper, with the taxes in his mouth to pay the government. Your enemy will reveal the greatness of God to you. Daniel would not have encountered hungry lions that couldn't eat had the king not thrown him into the lion's den. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego would not have known that a burning fiery furnace could be quenched by the fourth man had their enemies not thrown them in there. The lion and bear would not have known, David would not have known that he could kill a lion and a bear had they not come and taken his little lamb. Some of your enemies will introduce you to your greatness, will introduce you to skills and abilities that were dormant inside of you. You never knew you could deal with it until you had to deal with it. You never knew you were so strong until strong was the only thing you could be. You could be strong or you could die. Make up your mind. Well, I'm going to be strong. I'm going to be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. My enemy will not have endless victory over me. You know, you give your enemy endless victory when every time you see them, you get angry. You give your enemy endless victory when every time you think about them, your bottom lip hits the floor. You give your enemy endless victory when you're still crying over them and they have gone on with their life. You give your enemy victory over you when they can still get you riled up. They can still get you angry. They can still make you cry. They can still make you upset. They can still make you have a miserable day just because they entered into your life for 1 minute and they upturn your mango cart with all your mangoes in there. And there you go huffing and puffing, angry all day. Why? Your enemy has the control button and every time they press, you got to move. You've got to respond. You've got to tell off. You're still being controlled by your enemy. Don't give anybody that kind of power over you. Are you feeling me now? Your enemy may enter your life under the guise of friendship. I can't stand these snakes in the grass. Your enemy can enter your life disguised in friendship. I had a high-ranking minister join our church. He said the Lord sent him to help me. From day one, the Queen of Zamunda did not trust the son of a gun. But I did. I was nicer then. I was unsuspecting then. I had a pure heart and I thought everybody was pure. I received him. Next thing you know, he's all up in the leadership, sowing discord. When I took trips out of the country, he would drive people away from the church. One trip, 26 people left that he had put out. I am in charge now, he said, ya re re. And I came back. And for the first time, I took a biblical look at this gifted snake. And it dawned on me that I had allowed a fox in the hen house, and the hens were disappearing. And so I got my rod and my staff, I fed the sheep, and I barbecued the wolf. I went after that wolf like a ton of bricks. A lot of people in the Christian church allow a lot of negative occurrences because they say, love your enemies. And they think that means to allow people to destroy what your hands are trying to build. No. An enemy may enter quietly and silently begin to weaken your life's work. Like wood ants in a building, they can eat out a post and not make a sound. And so you've got to watch that. You've got to watch people who, from the time they come into your life and into your work, into your job, into your business, things start to go wrong and keep going wrong. You've got to watch people that when they come, other people start disappearing, and when you trace it, they are the ones that made the other people disappear, so that they must be the only voice. Your business was doing well until you hired that person. Now you've lost some of your best customers. No. Stop having your head in the sand, pull your head out of the sand, and look around. What's really happening with what you're trying to do? When you see stagnation, when you see people disappearing, there is somebody in that house that is dirtying your water while you, with your oblivious self, sing and dance and jump all around when we get over yonder. Your head is so far up in heaven, you're not seeing what's happening right under your nose down here in the nasty now and now, because you're busy trying to get to the sweet by and by. Hear me and hear me strong. Watch them dogs that bark. Watch them. Keep an eye on those that create division, on those who, from the day they come into your life, good things and good people start disappearing. Are you feeling me now? I got several PhDs on that, so don't even bother to send me no letters. The next thing is, an enemy will often ignore protocol, ignore the established chain of authority, despise the order and spirit of the house. Are you feeling me now? There are people who will come to the business for the first time, and they want to tell you to fire some worker that is faithful as a dog. There are people that will come to your church for the first time. Pastor, can I get a minute? Or Pastor, can I make an observation? First day they have come, they want to make an observation, they want a minute, and 20 minutes later they're still talking. They want to see you after the service with no thought that you may be tired out after preaching a long message, praying for all of these people, counseling with people that you know. First day they come and they want your time, they want your attention, and they are very demanding and very pushy. You say, well, oh, they really like my ministry. Come. Nobody likes anybody's ministry that much. When somebody comes into your life for the first time and demand time with you, you got a rebel on your hands. The fact that they have no respect for the protocol of the house, because sometimes the ushers will tell them, Pastor can't see you now. And they, no, the pastor will see me now. And they demand that you talk to them now. Watch demanding people who are making demands the first time they get there. They want your time, they want your attention, and no matter who else is there, they'll shove people. you wait your turn and they have an attitude with it. No, no, no. They don't love you. They don't love your ministry. They are there to destroy. And if you don't watch that, if you don't watch that spirit, and if you don't put your foot on the brakes, it will not be a week before you get all kinds of drama breaking out all over the place. Are you feeling me now? Some people, the first day they come, they didn't like the song service. Y'all sang too quick. You finished singing too quickly. Or y'all took too long with the song service. First day? Come on. I have told people in the church, do not invite that person again. Send them to another church. Why, Pastor? I see something that is going to create tremendous drama in here, and we're not up for that anymore. We had enough of that. So if you invited them, send them off to another church that can be a blessing and a benefit to them, and they can be a benefit. But the fact that somebody comes for the first time and they're demanding time and attention and they are pushing the ushers aside and they have got to talk to you today, and they ask for a minute and 20 minutes later they're still explaining themselves, you have got a rebel on your hands. Stop having the big head and assuming that your ministry is so anointed that you have questions, you have answers that only you have. You try with that kind of spirit. You will bring a lot of drama and unnecessary warfare into your space.com. I have a rule. It may not work for you, but I have a rule. When I invite a preacher for the first time, I do not speak to them when they get into the country. They stay somewhere else. Because I am expecting the Lord to speak to the church through them. And if they have a conversation with me, the assumption would be that pastor told the preacher something. That's why they preach that message. So to avoid all of that, I let it be known I do not talk to visiting preachers until the series of services are done. Then we can talk. And over the 44 years, it's only one preacher that insisted I have got to talk to them. One. You know the rest of that story, how it ended up. Are you feeling me now? Now here is something you need to know. My next point. Your enemy must be exposed. Your enemy must be exposed. When there is a liar in your circle, expose the liar. Say, Rev, that's rough, man. Yes, I know. You owe that. What? You owe the people under your protection. You owe them that. That what? Exposing the liar. You owe them a warning that a liar is in the house. Are you feeling me now? Peter exposed Ananias and Sapphira in Acts 5. You are responsible for any person that you destroy, and you are responsible for any person that you permitted to be destroyed. And when you allow a liar to go unchecked and unexposed, their lies are going to destroy the people under your protection, and you are to be blamed. Oh, I don't want to say anything. Is every tub on its own bottom? No. You are there as the watchman on the wall. Your trumpet has to have a certain sound. You have to let people know we have a liar in the house. We have a liar in the house. I started a church in a certain nation, and the leader, the pastor of that church, was a horrendous liar. Horrendous. They just make up lies like nobody's business. And so they told some of my friends, people on my friends list, that I was running them down and taking away half of the money that came into the church. And some of the people didn't even bother to ask me anything. They said, nah, we know this guy for long. That's not happening. And a few others who didn't know me that long, they took offense and stopped talking to me, got offended, is calling up everybody and telling them, oh, he's taking away the little bit of money that the people have in the church. And it came to my attention. So the next time I went to the church, I said out loud in front of everybody, whoever it is that is telling people that I am taking half of the monies from this church, Madam Treasurer, stand up and answer as to whether or not. The person just shook their head, said, of course, I don't bother with people, they're always talking. And that incident left a sticky feeling amongst the people. They knew who the liar was. They knew who they were dealing with. I knew who the liar was. I knew who I was dealing with. You need to warn people when you have liars in your midst, because their lies will destroy a lot of innocent people. And when those innocent people get destroyed under your watch, you are to be blamed for your inaction and your cowardice. One of the things about ministry that many ministers do not like is to confront liars, is to confront disorderly people. They run away from that part of ministry. But if you're going to be a minister, you're going to meet with wolves. You're going to meet with lions and tigers and bears, oh my. And sometimes, as nice as you are, you're going to have to take off your velvet gloves and let the iron fist fly. You got to crack some heads and break some jaws. You got to scramble some lions by the teeth and pluck their teeth out. You got to defang white fan. You got to let God arise and his enemies be scattered. Jesus said about Herod that fox. John said, you have your brother's wife, etc., etc. As people of God, we're going to come up against evil people. And many people who are evil and destructive and unrepentant, they need to be exposed. Oh yes, they need to be exposed. You are responsible for any person that you destroy, and you are also responsible for the people under your watch that got destroyed because you did not warn them that you have a fox in the hen house. You have a liar on board. Are you feeling me now? Are you feeling me now? They will shatter what you're trying to build. They will destroy what took you months and sometimes years to put together. They will run people off that you took decades to get the demons out, to get the sickness off, to get all the false doctrine and false belief out of their system, to get the right structured line upon line, precept upon precept, biblical teaching and instruction, and to get them on their way. And now that they're shakily on their way, somebody comes with a bag of lies and destroys that person's faith. You are to be blamed for that because you stood by and you let it happen. Are you feeling me now? You've got to, as a minister, you've got to be cool and easy and yet cool and deadly. You're going to have to take out some liars. I had to talk to a man one time and I told him, I said, look, I noticed that you have a very whorish spirit. You're hustling with all the women around here. Let me tell you something. These are my daughters in here. And we don't have that kind of adulterous spirit in this church. And so, if you don't mind, I'm watching you with all my eyes. You're not going to bring that spirit here. You are not going to bring that spirit here. And he tried to reason with me, oh, what a friendly guy. I said, you're not going to bring that spirit here. And he missed church for months after that. And he crawled back as if he had repented. But guess what? Not only is God watching him, I warned some other folks, said, look, we got this guy, he's got a problem with lust. And he's moving around. And they said, we got this, Rev. You don't have to bother. We got this. I thought I was the only one that saw the spirit on him. They had him cornered. Every time he got up and was going to talk to anybody of the opposite species, somebody got up and joined the conversation. And they let him know, God is watching us. God is watching us. God is watching us. And he's not at a distance. He's right here, watching you through my eyes. My next point is, now here's what you need to know. If there are two things I know about enemies, is number one, they want to be you and they hate when you make progress. And number two, they love you to be in unnecessary skirmishes, unnecessary battles, unnecessary fights. They'll send you off to catch a sheep that did not even leave the flock. They like when you waste time. They like when you waste time. I spoke to the person who introduced me to that lying pastor. And I said, I think it was a strategy on your part to introduce me to this liar, because you've wasted X amount of years of my life that I could have spent on some other place with some other person and have made tremendous inroads. And the person did not answer on to now. Strategy of the satanic world is to keep you busy with unnecessary fights. Your enemy wants you to waste time. Your enemy will set obstacles in front of you. Your enemy... I remember there was a family that did not like the leader of the national church. They couldn't stand him for some reason. And one night, he drove many miles to come to this service where the family were. They were attending that church. And when he was done with his ministry, heading home now, got in his car, turned the ignition, and he felt something strange. And when he came out, his 4 car tires had no air. The family had let down all the air out of his tires one by one by one by one. Had the man of God flat on his derriere. Couldn't drive the car home. And they were tickled pink that they wasted his time. Now he's going to have to go get somebody to come with something to get the air in. Your enemy loves to involve you in unnecessary battles which promise little reward or no reward. If there is something I know about battles, battles drain your energy. Oh boy, there's some people, just their name on your phone, and you get exhausted. You get tired. You get tired, you get weary. You feel tore up. Battles drain your enemy. Battles break your focus. The thing that you're supposed to be paying attention to. You got so much trouble on the domestic front that you can't handle the battles on the demonic front. And your real enemy is the demonic agencies that fight you, not the human elements that bite you. Pick your poison. Unnecessary battles drain your focus, break your energy. And the other thing about unnecessary battles is that they empty your resources. They empty your resources. They empty your resources. They empty your resources. Investments that you made with monies that could have gone somewhere more profitable. Oh Lord, our help in ages past. They drain your resources. They break your focus. They drain your energy. And they involve you in battles that you get wounded, and there's no spoils. There are no spoils. There are no spoils. No spoils. I remember we had this 5 nights of service. 3 nights the rain fell. 3 nights the amplifiers exploded. 3 nights the mics would not work. The other 2 ministers who were to be along with me for the 5 nights, 2 of them were on no show the first 3 nights. The 4th day I got a message that many moons ago the 2 of them had a misunderstanding and neither one is going to show up on a platform with his adversary. That could have been said a long time ago. The second to the last night, the weather was fine. The amplifiers worked. The mics were in perfect condition. Me with my nice self asked one of the guys who was the pastor, who was supposed to be on there that said he wouldn't come, if the other guy was there, passed by and saw that the other guy, his adversary, was not there, and pulled up. And I stupidly asked him to say the prayer before the preacher comes on. I was the preacher. And I announced to the audience, I am the preacher tonight. I'm asking Reverend so-and-so to come and say the prayer before I come up and preach. He heard all of that very clearly. I was not talking with water in my mouth. He took the microphone and he prayed. And when he was done praying, he took off preaching. And when he was done preaching, he handed me the mic, jumped on his motorcycle, and he was gone before I could Jericho his hair with dragon's breath that I was about to pour out on him. I was livid. How dare you? But he was gone. There's nobody to argue with. And I said to myself and to the Lord, Lord, 3 nights gone to waste. The 4th night gone to waste. We've got 1 more night. I am not leaving this ground without spoils. I want souls for my hire. I want souls for my hire. And I've got 1 more night. I want souls. I want souls. I want souls. I spent the next day. I don't remember what I did that next day. But that night, that final night, the title of my message was The Incomparable Christ. When I was about to take the microphone, somebody threw a cloak on me. I looked around and nobody was there. I knew what was about to happen. I had gotten the rocker shocker of all rocker shockers. And I took off preaching. I took off preaching. I mean, I wish I had that message on CD, MP3, or whatever they had. Back in those days, it was cassette. You used to have CDs too, but cassette was the big guy then. When I made the altar call that night, people started coming from every direction. And we counted 38 for that night alone. And then after the sinner's prayer, you know what that is, we dismissed the service, and the next day and the next week and weeks after, people were getting saved that did not make a decision that night, but they went home And something kept telling them they made the wrong choice. They need to give their heart to Christ. They need to give their life to Jesus. They need to get saved. They need to be at the next baptism. Souls kept coming in weeks after, months after. People were still coming in on the strength of that word, the incomparable Christ. It was not all in vain. It was not an unnecessary battle. I had gotten the spoils of war, and the spoils of war when I go out to war is souls. I don't care about anything else. I'm not trying to make a name for myself here. As long as they know the Lord's name, as long as they say how great God is. When I go out there, I don't want them to say how great the preacher is. I want them to say how great God is. And that's what they were saying. Boy, I never saw Jesus at all these things. That guy preached up a storm there. To God be the glory. I'm giving my life to Jesus Christ. Your enemy will attempt to involve you in unnecessary battles. All this finding and proving is not for men and women of God. We don't have time for that nonsense. That's childish play. We got too much to do. We got souls that are racing towards hell and going by the dozens, by the scores, by the hundreds, by the thousands at a daily rate. We've got work to do, and we can't afford to be outing silly little fires that are set by children who have an attention-getting spirit. There are people in congregations that have an attention-getting spirit. They always want to be the nut that gets all the grease, and they keep squeaking to get more grease and more grease and more grease. You have got to realize as men and women of God that that one soul is not the only one you have, and when you give them all the attention, you are losing the others who are there needing some attention too. It's always the people that give us the trouble that we give all the attention to, and those that give us no trouble at all and are our support system, we don't pay them any mind, and it's not right. That's all I'm saying. It's not right to pay mind to the ones that are, my mother used to say, kangalangs, and to not give any attention to the people who are supportive and are a blessing. Are you feeling me now? Are you feeling me now? My next point is, your enemy should be confronted in the timing of the Spirit with the right spiritual weaponry. This will enable you to predict their strategy and conduct, and you'll come out more than a conqueror. Your enemy should be confronted in the timing of the Spirit and with the right spiritual weaponry. Not because someone is making noise, you have to shush them. Sometimes you need to leave people alone. Let them make noise so they get strep throat until they lose their voice. Stop fighting every battle as soon as the battle lines are drawn. Avoid unnecessary battles. And don't fight every battle because the bell went off. Let the bell go off. You stand in your corner. Let him come rushing across the ring to think he's going to knock you out with one blow. And when he punches, move. And hang out on the ropes. Rest your carcass before the fight really starts. Because once you get going, you are like the Energizer battery. You keep going and going. Nothing outlasts the Energizer. Save your energy for that crushing blow. You got a devil to beat. The right time. The right time. The right time. The Solomon the king said there is a time for everything under the sun. And then he ends off with that famous line, you make everything beautiful in its time. What does that mean? When a baby is born after 9 months, it's beautiful because it's in its time. It came forth at the mature moment in time and not at 4 months. Even though they can be born at 4 months, there's going to be a lot of drama and stress on the doctors, the nurses, the parents, the family, because they know this baby is premature. And when something is premature, it needs a lot more time and attention. It's not beautiful. The baby is beautiful, but the timing is not beautiful. That's what he says. That's what he means when he says, He makes everything beautiful in his time. The right time has to come. And some battles need the right time. The right time. Are you feeling me now? But the thing is, you will have to confront your enemy. If they are going to be in yourspace.com, if they're going to be in yourbusiness.com, if they're going to be working for your firm, or you're working in the same company, and there is no way you can avoid them, then at some point, two men have to meet. Are you feeling me now? Glory to God. Your enemy should be confronted at the right time and with the right weaponry, with the right attitude, with the right motive. You're never going in there to kill, steal, and destroy. You're going in there to see if this thing can be solved and resolved amicably. Sometimes it can. Sometimes you'll be surprised that the person you thought was an enemy, that it was all in your head. And they said, no, I saw you look at me that day and I thought this man hated me, so I avoided you. But you didn't do me anything and I didn't do you anything. So shake hands and let's get on with our lives. I thought you hated me when you gave me that stink eye. And some people can be very petty too. You just look at them, they feel, oh, this man hates me. Oh. In Matthew 10 and 22, the Bible says, you shall be hated of all men for my name's sake, but he that endureth to the end shall be saved. An uncommon enemy can only be defeated with uncommon endurance. There are some enemies, no matter what you do, they're not going anywhere. I know this woman, she's a member of a church, and she's high up in the deacon board. And the pastor was misbehaving. And the board members started leaving one after the next. And he thought this woman would leave. And so the next meeting, when they were voting for more new people to come on the board, she was left there. And he asked her one day, he said, why are you still here? She said, I'm here to keep an eye on you. I'm not going anywhere because I know who you are. Somebody has to watch you. I am here to watch you. I'm not going anywhere. He pulled every trick in the book. And the stronger she got, the stronger she got. And so he has settled down now and has decided, I better outlast this woman. He is still there, and guess what? She is still there. Just recently, we corresponded on Facebook Live, and she said, Reverend, I haven't seen or heard from you in years. You haven't come by our place there. I said, well, you know, I'm a busy man, very busy. She said, yes, I know. And I asked her, I said, you're still there? She said, yes. I'm not going anywhere. And then she said, somebody has to watch him. I said, well, you got a job there, my friend. You've got a job cut out for you there. She said, yes, I know. And I'm not moving. So there's some of your enemies who have decided they don't like you, they can't stand you, but they are not going anywhere. They're just there for the fear factor, for the nervous factor, to keep the tension going, to keep you on your toes. There are some people that when you see them coming to church, you groan and you pray. And you say, Lord, send your anointing. Because here comes my enemy. And they know that they make you pray. They know that they keep you on your toes. They know that you know that they can't stand you. But they're not going anywhere. They just want to be there to make your life very interesting. You're going to need endurance for some people. You're going to need to know how to ignore A and how to endure B, but also maintain a sweet spirit while you're doing it. There is no point. Many a battle has been lost by wrong reaction, wrong response. There you are, all mad, all upset, blowing fire through your nose and through your ears. All your hair got all straight because of the heat that's coming from your head. You're mad at somebody in the church. You cannot allow people to get your goat, to get your temperature to rise, to get your cool to go, to get your blood pressure up. No. 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 The first rule of leadership is lead thyself. You've got to lead you. You've got to control you. Nobody must be able to get you mad, to get you upset, to get you angry, to get you going. No. No. Nobody has that power over you. Maintain your cool. No matter what they do, maintain your cool. Maintain your cool. Don't let them get you angry. No. You get angry when you want to get angry, and be ye angry and sin not. And do not let the sun go down on your temper. Somebody said, well, you know, Pastor, it's 5 minutes before the sun goes down. I don't have enough time to not be angry. You've got enough time. You've got 5 minutes to stop being angry. He said, okay, tomorrow morning I'll start a fight with them so I can be angry all day. Apostle Gaspar said, I pick my battles. Me too, me three. I don't fight every battle. Most of the battles, anyhow, they have no spoils. You've got nothing to prove. Maintain your cool. Maintain your cool. Your enemy must respect the fact that they can't get you upset. They can't get you going. They can't get you mad. No matter what they do, all you've got for them is a smile, and you're watching them like a hawk. Don't turn your back on them, but watch them. Keep an eye on people that have threatened to do you dirty. Some enemies need endurance. 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 Now here is where I agree with Apostle Harper. It is wisdom to avoid confrontation with your enemy when possible. Now some people are impossible, but there are those who it's possible to avoid confrontation with them. You know they like to be at the back, you go at the front. Sometimes you have to change grocery stores. Just so that you wouldn't see the persons that can't stand you. You shop somewhere else. Just to not see your enemy. It is wisdom to avoid confrontation with your enemy. Because remember, your energy is drained, your focus is broken, your resources are depleted, and the battle has no spoils. I can't stand battles that have no spoils. I just can't stand it anymore. I'm not as young as I used to be. I got energy, yes, but I'm not going to waste it on battles that have no spoils. You've got big things to do. You've got great things to do. You've got exploits to exploit. You cannot afford to be fighting these straw weights and these light weights and these feather weights and these bantam weights. And you know you're a heavyweight. Come on now. It is wisdom to avoid confrontation with your enemy when possible. Now hear Jesus in Matthew 10:23. This is Jesus here. But when they persecute you in this city, flee to another city. Don't stay in the persecution and say, I'm being persecuted for Jesus. Jesus said, run. He who fights and runs away, live to fight another day. We got the heathen back them on the wall. The heathen back them on the wall. Rise, O fallen fighter. Rise and take your stand today. For he who fights and runs away lives to fight another day. We got the heathen back them on the wall. The heathen back them on the... Jesus said, when they persecute you in this city, flee to another city. Matthew 10:23. Fleeing does not demonstrate fear, but wisdom to sustain your life and your ministry, to retain your focus, to freshen yourself, to catch your breath, to live to fight another day. Not because you can fight, you must fight. Not because you can make sure when you make 50. Have you lost your mind in this economy? Come on now. It is wisdom to avoid confrontation with your enemy when possible. Fleeing does not mean that you are afraid or you're a scaredy cat. But it means that you have the wisdom to sustain your life, to sustain your business, to sustain your ministry, to retain your focus, and to catch your breath. And sometimes going to another city, you have better reception there. There are places that I have gone to minister the same word of God, and I get humongous success. You will not believe the heavyweight in the nation that comes, and we like this guy. He tells us the truth, and we like to see when he blow into that mic. We want to know what is it that he's got. One place in New York, while I was at the church, they sent home the deacon and his wife. They searched through my suitcase to find the nerve gas that I was using to knock people out. They said, whoa, this guy is Black Benny Hinn. Glory to God. Humongous success. So one city may persecute you, and another city you get tremendous success. One nation may give you hell, and another nation may be opened up to the gospel. They want to join with you. I was telling you last week that we got quite a few people that linked with us, over 125. It is wisdom to avoid confrontation, and all of them are pastors. It is wisdom to avoid confrontation with your enemy when possible. And then, my final point. Yay! My final point. I'm circling the airport, and I'm about to land this plane. The enemy of my enemy is my enemy. The enemy of my friend is my enemy. It is wise to make peace with your enemy when possible. But I say unto you, Matthew 6:39 to 42. This is Jesus now. But I say unto you, resist not evil, but whosoever shall smite thee on thy right cheek, turn to him the other cheek also. And if any man will have you sue you at the law and take away thy coat, let him have your cloak also. And whosoever shall compel thee to go a mile, go with him 2 miles. Give to him that asketh thee, and from him that would borrow of thee, turn thee not away. Enemies are bridges, they are not walls. And what he was saying here, avoid contention and court story as much as possible, because a lot of times the lawyers and the police and those that are in the legal system, they get paid and you get broke. So avoid making enemies, and they have to sue you and take you to court for this reason or that reason. The world is not a perfect place. And no matter how you try, somebody out there will decide that you look like a pushover. They decide, since you left their organization, they're going to destroy you. They have decided, since you are well-liked and making waves, they're going to stop you. They have decided that you're too big for your britches. They have decided that you have too much influence in the nation. They have decided that you are more well known than they are. They have decided that the influence that you have, they have got to destroy it. And they will come after you like a ton of bricks. Don't let any enemy destroy you. Don't let any enemy defeat you. Don't let any enemy get your blood pressure to rise. Maintain your balance, your equilibrium. Maintain your cool. Be cool as cucumber. But be deadly too. Be cool but be deadly. They must not see you coming. They must know when they take you on, they have taken on a formidable opponent. They must know that you are no pushover. And while you are for peace, you are a silent assassin. You know how to go to war. Outlast some of your enemies. Make friends of some of your enemies. Avoid some of your enemies. Expose some of your enemies. Defeat some of your enemies. Don't lose. Be bold. Be strong. For the Lord thy God is with thee. Don't let Satan keep you busy dousing fires and fighting enemies. When there is no profit from a fight, let the fight go to somebody else. Don't waste energy, resources, time, and money on people that are not worth your time. There are some enemies that are not worth your time. And like I said, there are some people that have not made a name for themselves. They have no element of fame about them. They are do-nothing people. And so what do-nothing people do, they pick a fight with you. Because your name is credible. And if their name is announced with your name, it will give them some credence, some credibility. Their stock will rise because they are fanning the flames of war with you. And you know how contentious the world is. Everybody likes to see a fight. They want you to fight. But there are no spoils. And this person is using your good name to build a reputation for themselves. The man who shot John Lennon said, "Now I will be famous because I killed a famous man." And there are people like that. They have done nothing constructive with their lives. They are parasites. They hang around people that they can get something from. They don't do anything for themselves. And they want to pick a fight with you because you have fame and notoriety. And if they fight you, they will also have some fame and notoriety. They want to ride on your back to give their name credibility. Don't waste time with those people. Ignore them and keep going. The man said of Sanballat and Tobiah and Geshem the Arabian, "We are doing a good job. Why should the work cease? And why should we come down and come to the plain of Ono to argue back and forth with you? We are doing a great job building up the temple." You have got to know the job you're doing is a great job. And that the job would cease if you waste time fighting these enemies. The job you are doing would cease because you got to spend time in court with them. You got to spend time arguing back and forth. You got to spend time finding and proving your story. You got to spend time talking about them. You got to spend time popping your neck and pointing your fingers. No, we're not going to do that. You're too classy to dirty your good name with people who don't want anything out of life but scandal and a hot mess. Some people's lives are a hot mess. Help them if you can. But if they want to make you an enemy, look unto Jesus, the author and finisher of your faith. Thou prepare us a table before me. When you have enemies, look to see where the table has been prepared and what blessing God has for you. For those of you that were with me all of this time, I thank you for your time. I know that every night something was said that edified, something was said that opened your eyes, something was said that made you say, why didn't I think of that? Or something that was said would make you say, you know, I thought of that. He took that thing just out of my mouth. If you can avoid enemies, avoid them. If you can't, avoid them. Keep yourself cool as cucumber. Father, help. Give us strategy. Give us grace to help in the time of need. Show us the table you have prepared. And help us to sit down with a knife and a fork at the 5-course meal. Eat and drink and give God the glory in the presence of our enemies. Give us a shout of victory. Magnify yourself in us. Let the enemy see the power of God, who is able to shut the mouths of hungry lions and quell the violence of fire, and come in the midst of the fire as the fourth man. Let our enemies have a confrontation with the Almighty God. For it is for your name's sake and for your glory we have prayed. En el nombre de Jesucristo. Amen. Good night, y'all. Thank you for your time, and God bless. I'm out.